I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace one evening when I came across a listing that immediately caught my attention. Everything Must Go. Entire container of fall-themed decorations for $20. The picture showed a big container, seemingly filled with a variety of fall decor. At the bottom of the ad, there was a note that read, "Clearing out house. Everything must go. Check my profile for more." Curious, I clicked on the seller's profile. The username was Cody, and his profile picture was strange. Just a close-up of a gray trucker's cap, with the brim pulled low enough to hide his face. His cover photo was a blurry image of a lake. Oddly enough, his profile was private, and none of his posts were public. Despite this, I scrolled through the few listings that were visible. There was a weird mix of items: an allegedly brand new iPhone for $700, some women's clothing, and Christmas decorations. It was a strange assortment, but nothing too alarming. So, I messaged him. To my surprise, Cody responded almost immediately. When I asked about the fall decorations, he described them as all sorts: tableware, outdoor items, the works. Eager for the deal, I told him I'd come to pick them up that day if he was available. Cody agreed, but mentioned something a bit unsettling. "I'll be home after 9 p.m. He sent me his address, and I quickly checked it out on Google Maps. The house looked ordinary enough, with 2 cars in the driveway and a neatly kept lawn. But the town, not the best area. Something about it didn't sit right with me. Just to be safe, I asked my friend Sally to come along. We headed out around 8:30 p.m. for the 30-minute drive. Sally made some jokes about the sketchiness of the area, which helped lighten the mood. But deep down, I could sense she was just as uneasy as I was. As we pulled into the neighborhood, it became clear why she joked about it. The streets were dimly lit, most of the houses were dark, and there were very few cars around. When we reached Cody's house, something felt off. There were no cars in the driveway, even though the lights were on, faintly visible through the drawn blinds. I sent Cody a quick message. "We're here." Almost instantly, I saw the blinds shift as if someone inside was watching us. A few seconds later, Cody responded, "I'm at the door, you can come in." Sally and I exchanged nervous glances. This was weird. We both agreed to ring the doorbell first. No way were we just walking in. But as we approached the front door, I called out, "Cody." No answer. Sally whispered, "We should leave." I was about to agree when suddenly a voice called out from inside the house, "Hey, I'm here, come in." The voice was deep, almost too deep, and strangely intimidating. We both froze. A man appeared at the door, only partially visible as he peered around the edge, waving us inside. I hesitated, but he stepped back out of sight, leaving the door wide open. Against my better judgment, we entered the house, leaving the front door slightly ajar behind us, just in case. The moment we stepped inside, we were hit by an overpowering, sickly sweet odor. It was like the smell of mothballs, mixed with something rotten, something foul. "It's over here, come on." Cody's voice boomed from the other room, his footsteps heavy and hurried. I could feel Sally's tension rising as we cautiously moved towards the room. The living room we entered was dimly lit, with old, outdated furniture and a pinkish-red carpet that gave the space an eerie, almost unnatural vibe. But the worst part, the smell was stronger in here, overpowering and gut-wrenching. In the center of the room was a red container with a green lid, completely different from the one in the ad. Cody stood over it, his figure hulking in the dim light. For the first time, I got a good look at him. He wasn't at all what I had expected. His face was hard, unfriendly, and his eyes, they seemed to glint with something I couldn't quite place, something menacing. "Go ahead, open it," Cody said, his deep voice rumbling through the room. I instinctively stepped back. "Why don't you open it?" I asked, my voice wavering. He chuckled, his laugh low and cold. "You're no fun," he muttered, his lips twisting into a sneer. That's when I knew we had to leave. Sally and I began inching toward the door. But before we could get far, Cody lifted the lid of the container. The stench that poured out was unbearable. It was like nothing I had ever smelled before. Decayed, death. I didn't want to know what was inside. Without another word, Sally and I bolted. We sprinted for the car, not daring to look back. As I fumbled with my keys, Sally kept urging me to hurry. My heart raced as I started the engine, and by the time we sped off, the house was already behind us. We never did find out what was inside that container, but I knew one thing for certain. It wasn't fall decorations. Later that night, I told our friend Carter what had happened. He asked for the address, curious to see the place for himself. I warned him not to go, but he insisted he just wanted to check it out online. The next day, Carter came back with some disturbing news. He'd driven by the house, and an elderly woman answered the door, claiming she had lived there alone for years. No one named Cody had ever lived there, she said. Confused, I showed Carter the messages from Cody, along with the address. Carter did some digging, and what he found chilled me to the bone. The house's owner was indeed a woman in her late 60s, just as she had claimed. But there was no record of anyone named Cody ever being associated with the property. To this day, I have no explanation for what happened that night, and I've sworn off ever meeting strangers for online purchases again. Whatever was in that house, whatever was in that container, it's something I never want to encounter again.